You say this deal between Israel and Hamas is unstable. Why don't you think it will hold? Do you think it will hold?
I think it will hold, but it will hold with certain variations to the initially agreed upon terms. The fact that this deal took at least 46 days for it to be reached, and the extensive work that happened behind the scene by the mediators, whether they are the Qataris or the Egyptians and the Americans, suggests that ultimately the main tenets of this deal are going to hold. However, this is not to say that it remains to be a very unstable deal with a very high level of mistrust between both Hamas and Israel. But again, the fact that the deal is structured in a way that leads to a gradual implementation on a daily basis, with little objectives being completed every 24 hours, suggests that the deal is going to hold, but not without hiccups, as we are seeing right now with the delay in the implementation of the first wave of captives and Palestinian prisoners being released.
Indeed, with the Israelis saying that the first transfer will not happen before Friday. So, Anas, we've also just heard Israel's Prime Minister saying a short pause will not end the war. That also means that there's no end in sight for the civilian suffering that we continue to see on the ground there. What is it going to take to achieve a full ceasefire, in your view?
The likelihood of a complete ceasefire at this moment is very slim. The Israeli government's announced objectives, which primarily include the elimination of Hamas as a political and a military party or group in the Gaza Strip, continues to be the most important objective for the Israeli government, and this is far from being achieved. And according to many analysts, it's highly unlikely to be achieved fully. However, in order for a ceasefire to be reached, I believe that three external factors have to change. The first is the attitude in the United States and the United States' patience towards the rising toll of civilian suffering and casualties in the Gaza Strip. About 15,000 Palestinians have been killed in the Gaza Strip, the vast majority of whom, according to the United Nations, appear to be civilians, and 1/3 of them are children. So how long will the United States' patience continue towards this humanitarian suffering and the humanitarian catastrophe that is also unfolding in the Strip will be a very important determinant. The second factor is the position of the Arab world, particularly the neighboring states, Egypt and Jordan. And it appears we have been seeing an escalation in the rhetoric that is emanating from Cairo and Amman over the past few weeks. Now, the third point is international pressure emanating from media coverage and position, civil society activism, as well as international organizations, be it the United Nations or other organizations. So as pressure is mounting, again, with relation to the humanitarian cost of the operation in Gaza, I think given or taken into account these three external factors and the way that they have been evolving will eventually lead to a ceasefire, but we are not there yet.